Writers and producers are back at the bargaining table. I'm Liv Kelleher, live in Hollywood, to give you the latest.
Thousands of Kaiser Permanente healthcare workers across the country have joined the picket lines as they voted to authorize a strike.
The United Auto Workers Union is on day 7 of its strike. Find out why the walkout could expand to more locations. See It Live starts now.
Tonight on See It Live, we are dedicating the show to the tens of thousands of workers currently on strike across the country. Hi, I'm Reid.
I'm Neel Amarnani. Members of the Writers Guild are back at the bargaining table with studio executives for the second day in a row. Earlier, writers and actors marched outside major Hollywood studios, including Netflix and Paramount Pictures. There's no word on how today's negotiations have gone so far, or whether the talks will continue after today. For more on the strike, let's go to Liv Kelleher, who's live at Paramount Studios, where strikers have been picketing for months.
Some people outside the entertainment industry have seen glamorous portrayals of life in Hollywood. They assume all writers and all actors are wealthy. But for the average writer impacted by the WGA strike, this couldn't be further from their reality. As the WGA enters the 143rd day of striking, writers are still on the picket line. At the heart of the negotiations with the AMPTP is protections against AI, fair compensation, and better residuals. Writers have been out of work since the beginning of the strike, and the financial stress is growing.
Because I just entered the guild not too long ago, and I only have one credit underneath my belt, I have not made a ton of money from writing. And so with the strike, I've had to get a day job to keep me afloat.
The WGA and the AMPTP are said to be close to reaching a deal. Writers are hopeful that this means they could be back to work soon. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Liv. That was great. And while there may be a light at the end of the tunnel for writers on strike, the AMPTP has yet to return to negotiations with the actors who walked alongside them. And without a source of income, many are concerned about their future in the industry.
It should not take, I believe it's 143 days. That doesn't make me optimistic about the future of the industry because we need to have good faith partnerships. But this is a step in the right direction, and hopefully we can come to a deal.
Nobody wants to be in this strike. Nobody wants Hollywood to stop. No one wants to feel stagnant. But at the same time, we all personally agree that it needs to happen now.
A lot of us, have been tapping into unemployment. I have friends that are asking their family for help, friends. Some of my friends are moving out of town. We are out here to let the AMPTP know that we want a fair contract, we want a new contract, and we are ready to work.
Among SAG-AFTRA's demands are increased minimum pay rates, protection against artificial intelligence, and increased residual payment for streaming. Union members also want improvements in health and retirement benefits. Actor and animator Seth MacFarlane donated $5 million today to the Entertainment Community Fund. That's an organization created as a safety net for performing artists. And as part of the gift, MacFarlane and the ECF set a $10 million goal in hopes of enticing donors.
Final bargaining sessions are underway with reps from Coalition of Kaiser Permanente unions and Kaiser's labor relations team. It's a last push to negotiate a contract for 85,000 healthcare workers before their contract expires on September 30th. With 9 days to go until the contract expires, if negotiations fail, this would be the largest healthcare worker strike in U.S. history. A strike of this magnitude would shut down all of Kaiser's facilities in 6 of the states where it operates, except Georgia. The union is demanding a $25 per hour minimum wage and a 26.5% increase over 4 years. They also are asking that additional staff be hired. Kaiser is pledging to hire 10,000 workers by the end of the year and a $21 minimum wage. They're also offering a wage increase of between 10 and 14% over the next 4 years. Kaiser Permanente representatives say they are committed to reaching an agreement by September 30th. Another strike in several states involves United Auto Workers. Michael Mellinger joins us now with the latest on their walkout.
Thanks, Neel. Close to 13,000 United Auto Workers have been on strike for a full week. No Justice, No Jeeps has been the rallying cry of workers at Stellantis. Stellantis, one of the big three automakers, along with Ford and General Motors, is facing strikes in 3 states. There's now concern that the strike will expand to other locations if demand deadlines are not met by noon tomorrow. Key issues include hourly pay and retirement benefits. Joining me now is Jonathan Handel, entertainment lawyer here in Los Angeles, previously serving as special counsel to SAG-AFTRA and on the legal team at the WGA. He's also written for The Hollywood Reporter, Puck, Variety, and Los Angeles Times. Good evening, Jonathan. This whole show, we've been talking about unions. You've been on the side of the organizations of the WGA, of SAG, the UAW now just walking out for a week. We heard a rumor last night that the WGA might end their strike, but no word on yet if UAW will. How do we know unions are getting close to reaching a deal? Is there even a way to tell?
It's very difficult, but the takeaway from your report really is that both in Hollywood and across the country, we are in a labor moment. As income inequality and wealth inequality have grown over the past 4 decades, and especially the past decade and a half, with the rise of big tech, workers have become more and more concerned about their compensation and about their control or lack of control over their work, and about the possibility of being displaced technologically. We're seeing that play out in the UAW walkouts, for example. Technology and the move to electric vehicles is driving some of the concerns there, many of them actually. And here in Hollywood, of course, AI, the pivot to streaming, and in the case of SAG-AFTRA, where they want an 11% wage increase and the studios are offering 5%, we are seeing the effect of inflation in the wake of the pandemic. So it is a very large and complicated set of issues. Of course, we do have 2 unions out, the writers and the actors. The actors are likely to go out next week. In addition, against the video game industry, a strike vote, authorization vote, is due back on Monday on that.
And Jonathan, another question for you. Unions are keeping up their hardball tactics. New York Times reporting earlier this week, the UAW has workers striking against all 3 automotive makers at once. Obviously, the WGA and SAG-AFTRA are both at the same time now. These unions, like they're saying, playing hardball tactics. Do you think this makes it, more incentivized for unions to reach a deal?
Well, the issue is whether management can read the tea leaves and understand that playbooks and assumptions that worked in the past when labor was less strong and had less public support, are dead and gone and no longer work today. As I think you reported, the CEOs of 4 of the major entertainment companies were in the room today and yesterday with the Writers Guild. Well, frankly, I excoriate them. It's outrageous that they weren't in the room 140 odd days ago when the strike, before the strike started, because there's no way to get a deal done on difficult, tough, sensitive and complex issues without the people who actually have the authority to make the deal, and that's the CEOs. It's a plus that they are finally in the room. It's a plus even that yesterday the press release that said we met yesterday, we're meeting tomorrow, which is today, was a joint press release between the writers and the Studio Streamer Alliance. 3 weeks earlier, they were at each other's throat and would never be issuing joint press releases. So we have some positive movement, but we don't have a deal today. The window is closing because you've got to get a deal with the writers and then a deal with the actors. And, we're starting to come close to bumping up against people going on vacation in November and then the holidays. And that puts us into next year, where the middle of next year, there are going to be 3 more major Hollywood contracts that are expiring. And you just don't want a combination, a bump up and a conflagration of all of these deals.
Jonathan, thank you so much. Auto workers on strike and Hollywood on strike as well, but I really appreciate you talking with me. Thanks again, Jonathan.
Thank you.
In a year of unprecedented strikes across some of the highest profile industries, laborers nationwide are calling for better pay and more protections from their employers.
With the pandemic, unions realized that businesses were challenged. They were flexible. They enabled employers to cut and revise jobs, to make economic adjustments. And I think they're looking for payback. The employees they represent are looking for payback. So And that's why they're asking for a lot. There's been really a snowball effect in terms of labor activity, and one situation, one set of actions inspiring another, coast to coast.
American workplaces are being hit hard. August saw some 4.1 million days lost this year. That's the most for a single month since August of 2000. Combined with July, there were nearly 6.4 million days lost from 20 stoppages. Lenz said the strikes are likely to end in the workers' favors as they seek recognition for their dedication to their companies, as well as a return to pre-pandemic life.
Graduate students at USC and UCLA advocated for their own labor unions, demanding protections for student workers on the job. Last spring, graduate students at the University of California went on strike against unfair pay. Graduate students workers at USC also voted to unionize in February.
Our main goal has been to fighting to make UC, University of California, a much more accessible, democratic, and equitable workplace for workers from all different kinds of backgrounds. Workers at the University of California and other institutions around the country face very difficult working conditions.
We just don't make enough money to be able to focus on doing good work here because we have so many other things to be worried about. Something's in the air right now. It's all over the place, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Members of both graduate student unions are working to keep the universities accountable. UC graduate students say the university is not honoring pay agreements and alleged contract violations.
Amid the prolonged strikes, students are worried about the state of the job market. We asked them about the challenges of finding a job post-graduation and what strategies they're using to better prepare.
My friends have switched from filmmaking over to marketing because that's not an industry that's getting impacted as much.
Friends of mine that had internships ready, but then it got rescinded because of the strike. It kind of made me pivot a little bit into maybe taking not necessarily towards steps of getting an internship, but rather going the more freelance route and try to make a living out of that.
It's definitely a warning to be as adaptable as possible. So it's in times where work might not be strong, if shows get shut down by strike, things like that. Being able to pivot and work on your own independent projects or work where you can, things like that.
USC has many networking and career opportunities for students. The Career Center is a great way to help connect with employers and assist students during this difficult time.
Young environmental activists are getting involved in speaking out for much needed change around environmental issues. Last week, hundreds of people rallied behind a group called Youth Climate Strike Los Angeles. Student activists joined others around the world to protest the lack of action addressing the climate crisis. The lead organizer is calling on local and federal state governments to declare a climate emergency.
This is definitely one of the largest strikes we've had. I think there was 500 people in the street that we've had probably since 2021, maybe 2022. There's a lot of people, and I think this was also the most diverse coalition we've had supporting the strike. So we had a lot of different organized labor groups, a lot of immigrants groups. So there's a good amount of, there was a lot of people in the street. There was such a diverse crowd and such a diverse audience, and so many different people coming together to support and endorse the strike. So that was huge for us.
Sim and other group members have more events coming up as they hope to make an impact on climate change policy and awareness. Thanks for watching See It Live from everyone at Annenberg Media. I'm Neel Amarnani.
And I'm Jack Reid. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg Media. To all of our viewers, thank you and good night.